Okay, it's time for a new tutorial to share with the community. Thought I might do something good for you guys out there who are running with an older Jeep. So I've got a 2007 Wrangler JKU and I'm having starting issues. So the other day, it won't start, or it intermittently starts. It sounds like it's got full power, the battery's good. The starter sounds like it's engaging, and it is. It's trying to turn over, but then it just stops midway. It'll turn for a second, and then it won't wind down on power. It just flat out stops. I'll show you here in a second. But I replaced the starter, and I didn't make a tutorial on that because that's a fairly simple process. There's only 2 bolts that you got to change. You unplug a couple of wires, put your new starter in. It's a pretty darn simple job. So I may make one on that another day. But for today, I'm going to show you how to replace the ignition switch, which I think is the problem now. Alright, got the key in the ignition. Let's see what happens here. Alright, you see that? It missed several times during trying to start up. So I'm not sure if that's the ignition switch. I also think it might be the crankshaft position sensor. So the ignition switch was right around $16 on Amazon, so I ordered one. It should be here in just a little bit. But today I'll show you how to disassemble the steering column and then replace the ignition switch. And if that's not the issue, well, then it's on to the crankshaft position sensor. Okay, in the 2007, there's only 3 bolts or 3 screws that you have to worry about. There's one of them right there. The other 2 are going to be in these recessed holes. That's one of them right there. And the other recessed hole is right there. So the funniest thing about it is that requires a Torx wrench, and the other ones inside are actually just Phillips head screwdrivers. So if you have a long Phillips head, that'll be just fine. Probably number 2. So there is the ignition switch, which I'm hoping is the issue, but I am wondering. Also, worth noting is there's your immobilizer device. In case you ever wanted to work on that, install a remote switch or a push button start, which I'm thinking about in the near future. Here you'll want to exercise a little caution when you're releasing the pin and pushing down on the button to pull the part out. You don't want to put too much pressure on the switch because there's a pin inside of it. Something else to remember, stay cool. Here you'll want to exercise caution just like earlier as you're removing the ignition switch from its mount. Pull carefully and don't put too much lateral pressure on it, otherwise you might break the metal rod that's inside of there. One of the things you want to take note of is that there is a little bit of adjustment to do with the switch. You have to rotate the inside tumbler so that it matches the original. So in the next image you can see that you can just take a normal Phillips head screwdriver, make it just a little bit of a turn, and now that they're lined up to be the same, you are good to go. Okay, it was a pretty simple matter to get the ignition switch installed. I haven't really got it fully installed. I just left it in place loosely. I plugged it in, and I'm just going to go ahead and give it a shot to see if it works before I get everything tightened up. Alright, maybe that's it. So the item was about $15. It took me about maybe 30 minutes or so to get everything torn apart. I didn't think it was that bad, just a little tricky on a couple of pieces that were fit in snug, and putting the part in was just a couple of minutes, you know, just plug and play really. So if you guys have this problem, I hope this video helps you out, and good luck. Well, guess I'm not done. Maybe it's the wrong part, but so right now I have the key in the ignition, but whenever I remove the key, the alarm indicates that I still have the key in the ignition with the door open. So it continues to chime, does not deactivate until I close the door. Really? I'll double check to make sure I got the right part, but Amazon did say this was the essentially Chrysler OEM replacement for my ignition switch. I'll double check the part number compared to the one that I just pulled out, see if there's a difference. Well, I went on Amazon, researched it, and at least according to Mopar, Napa, O'Reilly Auto, they say that this is the part. It's like a Dorman 924727, something like that. So I think that maybe it's just a loose wire. So let's wiggle it around, make sure the connections are good. So that's it. There's something a little loose about it. Maybe I didn't get the rotation turned properly in there, so I'm going to take it back out and see if I can't double check to make sure it's in proper alignment. Okay, that one was sort of funny. As it turns out, I checked the alignment, everything looked good there, so I put it back in, but this time I put it in fully and securely instead of just leaving it loose there. Earlier I had not replaced that single little screw that was holding it in. Here, I'll show it to you. Right there. Let's see if I can't get. So this little joker was not fun to reach. Trying to get to that with this little tiny Torx wrench took quite a while finagling before I could turn it, because you could only get like a quarter turn with the space you have available. Okay, but since I did get it tightened up and in place, everything seems to be working properly. Turn it on. Pull it out. All right, no door alarm. Looking good. All right. Again, hope this helps you guys. Good luck.